Hello, universe. Did you bring a towel? It's raining. It's been raining for 48 hours. It's supposed to rain all day tomorrow. Temperature right around 50. Oh, it's pleasant. I mean, Mother's Day is supposed to hit 60, but I believe rain for Mother's Day as well. So rather than doing an on-location jobby, what up, Phoebe? I didn't go anywhere. Had to get some sound effects. Hello, universe. It is Thursday night at, what's the time? Time is 10:29. And the phone is now in place. The cat is on the computer. The dog is in the living room. The space heater is by the bed. I have something to drink. Probably should blow my nose. Pause. Unpause. Pause. Unpause. Are you ready, Phoebe? Oh, we better get Phoebe's back. Pause. Okay, unpause. I think, well, if I had to pick my most creative moment today, or the thing that, as it turns out at the end of the day, when I look back on the day, I would say was most creatively engaged, it was the way that I cut my leg, like in several places. It was a very creative way to cut my leg. And yet, handling glass today has been a problem. So I've got like diamond glass dust in my hands that I got to get rid of. So I'm going to jump in the shower real quick and try to get myself in presentable shape, because that was the part I forgot to do. Pause. Yep, it's now 12:20 in the morning of the 12th of May, and it's still raining its ass off out here. Pause. Okay, on pause. There's no rain in the bedroom, so that's good. Cat's on the pillow, though, so that's not good. Okay, so we'll be getting back to our roots a little bit here with episode 52. In that I have nothing planned out for this particular recording except to try to encapsulate my impressions of what the next recording will be. Yeah, I know. It is pretty dumb. But here's why. Well, not why it's dumb. Well, you know why it's dumb. But here's why it's turning into a one-episode finale rather than a two-part finale. Because I was originally going to lead with my 9 favorite moments in the podcast. All right. Oh, pause. Unpause. Note to self. Did it just get quieter? Note to self, too. Did it just get quieter again? I guess begrudgingly, I will start to adhere to the terminology, the descriptor, the podcast vernacular as what this enterprise has become. I guess this is no longer a personal confession, not at least directly, though it could get back to that tomorrow. Let's face it. And it is that to a certain extent, but it's not focused on that like it was early. So what the fuck is this? Well, it's my way of collecting the tangents and, as much as possible, keeping from overlooking trains of thought that had productive potential that get lost in the shuffle to something more interesting in the moment, or more distracting for reasons that I've yet to understand. So, what's with my voice? I just drank a glass of water, too. Maybe some of this sandia sweet soda is what's missing. Okay. I think I mentioned that I cut my leg. Let's see, how many places did I cut my leg? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 2 of them are like butt cuts. And I've got all this glass, like, shit, man, my fingertips are sore. Anyway, so I've had a day of disruption, self-imposed, and weather imposed, and too little sleep, and probably too little music. I didn't play any music today, like on my piano, nor did I actually listen to enough music. So, and the rain. I mean, having lived in Portland, Seattle, this weather is familiar, but even those cities rarely get 3 days of straight rain. And Portland gets it way more than Seattle does, but Portland doesn't get this kind of rain. Portland gets like that misty, crappy, almost you don't get wet walking across a parking lot rain. Seattle gets this kind of rain, but not for 3 days. 24 hours, sure. But 3-day rain periods are rare, at least in my life. So I'm trying to overcome the natural mood suppressant that is the constant drying off of my dog. Well, I thought, why not record? And since I haven't listened to all 51 of the episodes prior to this one, to prepare for my take on what I really liked and what I didn't like in this last round of 53, well, I still wanted to record something today outside of that framework, because I didn't want to dedicate today to the best of what I've already done. I wanted to add something more to this round. And I don't know if I actually have topical relevance enough to complete this recording the way I hope to. But as I started to look for previous worthwhile moments in the recordings prior to this one, numbers 1 through 51, well, I actually started finding a variety of things I liked, things that I had forgotten about, things that I have not revisited for a while, because this season, as it were, has taken the entire 2023 year so far. And I forgot that I finished 2022 on a 2-a-day rush to get season 5 done, so I could start season 6 in January, I think on the 2nd or 3rd, I don't remember. But now I realize that having taken most of February off and quite a bit of chunks in March, and probably April too, this series of 53 is extending across 4.5 months, which I didn't intend at all. And I really hadn't even realized till I started looking at the review. So, intentionally interjected, because it was appropriate in that moment, this will be a thorough review of what this year has been so far. 2023 has had some hiccups, and mostly self-imposed, but a couple that the simulation has thrown right in my lap, and a couple that the simulation has put off to the side and had me deal with from afar. All of these gestures and activities corralled into the year that is 2023, well, there's more to digest than just my 9 favorite moments and the 9 things that I would edit out if I used an edit button. No, that wasn't going to be enough. And and so in true blowing up the final project to the point that it'll be too much work and I'll just do a crappy job on it, instead of doing the original idea well, let's do 7 times the original idea and let's do it poorly. Well, let's hope that that was some karmic reverse psychology. Because what I'm actually going to pursue in re-listening to all, 35 hours that precede this, well, I'm going to look for 9 categories to create top 9 lists in. I know, this is way too ambitious. In fact, should I just quit right now? No. No, because 1, I don't have a job, so I have the time. 2, it's been raining and it's going to continue raining, so I kind of have the weather. And 3, well, it's been 4.5 months of the year already. We're almost to my birthday, which will be next month. And frankly, maybe I should do a bit of a check-in. Where am I going, considering I don't have a job and don't have anything to do today except maybe listen to my own podcast? So maybe taking this, what's going on at this point in my podcast situation, will turn into a what's going on at this point in my life situation. Right, Phoebe? Totally. Nice entrance. And so that's where we're headed. And in so doing, well, I'm going to mine my previous attempts at listenable content. I'm going to look for number 1, well, actually number 9, my misuses of words. Now, this could be mispronunciations, which I'm a fan of, or this can just be flat out wrong word, wrong place. I'm also a fan of that one. This can also be reaching for a word that just didn't fit. Yeah, I'm also a fan of that one. This could also be using c'est la vie at a point when I meant ciao. So you never know what word misuses I've done. In fact, I don't even know what they are. Those are little treasure boxes I can't wait to open. So that will be list number 9. I will look for the 9 most, what should we go for? The 9 most, did I really? Word misuses that I can find in this season. Okay, then list number 8. Which one would be list number 8? List number 8 will be, how about thought derailments? I'm good at this. So imagining that I can come up with a top 9, I don't know. That might be hard to cut down to 9, but I'll do my best. So I will be looking for things where I started some thought and never got back to it, never finished it, never completed it, never even remembered I started it. Because list number 7, well, I'm going to find the 9 best weeds I smoked over these 4.5 months as I recorded. That should not be too tough. But because thought derailments are a direct result of smoking weed, well, I thought putting them next to each other would be a reasonable sequence of production planning. All right, on to list 6. List 6 being that I just smoked weed. Oh, should I smoke some weed? Sure. Let's get that going. List 6 will be my top 9 most unlistenable moments. And these will be moments where literally I just don't think you should listen. For whatever reason. Could be that the dog is snoring too loud and you can't hear me. Could be that I'm smoking dope and I'm not talking and it's just not worth listening to. It could be that I forgot to hit pause and recorded for a minute and a half, and that's just stuck in the recording now, and that's too bad. Who knows? Creating unlistenable moments? Well, I don't want to hamstring myself. I'm pretty good at it, and if you just let me go, Coach, you'd be surprised what I come up with. All right. Unpause. All right. Well, the next 8 minutes of life will be brought to you by Jack Herrera and Chocolope. Yep, I said Chocolope. Yeah, fuck, man. Chocolope. Even the word, just, it works. Chocolope was somebody's really good idea. So thank you, somebody who invented Chocolate, and all the other people that invented everything that had to happen so that Chocolate could come along too. You're all pretty cool as well. But list number 5, well, things I shouldn't have said. Simple. The top 9 things I shouldn't have said, whether they be just flat out wrong statements or names of people I shouldn't have mentioned or God knows what. Right, God? Do you know? Do you know what's in there that's on? Yeah, okay. Things I shouldn't have said. I wonder if I should turn this category into things I should have said. Ooh, boy, that would be more interesting, wouldn't it? Maybe that'll be a bonus category. Or maybe I'll forget I even said that. But still, things I shouldn't have said. There've got to be 9. There might be 90. So the top 9, best of my ability of judging the embarrassment of the statements therein, will be in reverse order from, it's not so bad that I said that one too. Seriously, dude, I should edit that out. So things I shouldn't have said will be list number 5. List number 4. Well, I need to rate my top 9 emotional breakdowns. And unfortunately, I'm well aware that there are at least 9 of these. There are 9 in the last 10 episodes, for fuck's sake. So yeah, and that's part of the reason that going through this session has been illuminating. I have found that the up and down emotional experiences of 2023 so far have been rather purposeful. I mean, how else can I put this? As I've gained comfort with emotional width, the more my emotions get pulled to the wide, to the heights and the pits, the more I'm there to experience those and almost learn things about myself for the first time at 53. Because all other moments in life were either Schadenfreude-laden escapades or shut down emotional defense mechanisms to keep from feeling misfitted. All of the above. So when I say emotional breakdowns, I'm not looking to go find the places where I started just sobbing because I was connecting to something melancholy. I don't even know that there are a lot of those in there. No, it's more like the variety of emotions that brought me to tears in this round, I think, are legitimately varied. We'll see. Maybe there's 3 different emergent tear paths that I took, and I did them all 3 times, and so here we go. There's your 9. Could be. But again, this is another reason these recordings have value for me. Because I can now gauge some of my own emotional heft or weight against where I am now. Especially as something the universe spits at you, forces you to deal with it in a way that you can't change it to your liking. No, you're just going to have to accept what's coming and deal with it the best you can in coordinating it into your life and out of your life or whatever, in whatever capacity is necessary. Like language is necessary, not necessitated. So, looking at my emotional upheavals, that one might be the category I'm the most interested in, to be frank. But I would say the next 3 all are actually more interesting. But should we do these in reverse order? I think we should. List number 3. Funny ass moments. All right, here's the thing. If I really think I'm going to stand up on an open mic night at a comedy club and try to spend 4 minutes making random people laugh, well, then there's got to be some funny ass shit moments in this, like, last 52 recordings. There have to be. So if I can't find 9 of those, see, here I am setting up little hurdles of which, if I can't jump across, I'm going to let myself excuse myself out that side door because I heard the frozen yogurt truck go by and I'm really, really warm. No. I gotta believe that part of constructing a comedic routine is being comfortable with your material in a way that it's almost you're not developing or constructing the joke on stage. Your topic matter is inherently funny, so you just go up to speak, Mike Birbiglia style. Although his woven narratives are a lot more intentionally driven than I'm giving him credit. To me, it's like if you were going to have a 45-minute set, well, I'd want that to be 6 or 7 cab driver to passenger exchanges where you're just dynamically shifting to a new topic matter that is interesting or has at least some level of dramatic tension to work with and spinning it into something fun. And then you do it again to the next customer. And once you've done that 7 times, well, look, that's an hour in TV land, so you're off stage. I don't know. I'm looking for funny ass moments. Will I find them? Let's hope so. If I don't, well, that might lead us to list number 2, which would be revisit me moments. My top 9, I should go back to that thought. Moments. Now, how is that different than the next one? Well, these are places where I didn't develop something enough, or I left something dangling that could have been much more appropriately tied into whatever I was trying to, at the time, bridge. It doesn't matter. But one of the things I am peppered with as I go back and listen to even the episode I just recorded are things that I'm like, shit, I should go back to that. Because I'll touch on something, not even realize it maybe as I'm speaking, but realize it as I reprocess it and think, fuck man, yeah, I should have let that go further. Those moments are something I should be listening to all of my previous recordings and trying to catalog. So here, let's see if we can find 9 of them. Now that we're at list number 1, I'm going to pause. Unpause. All right. So the last list of 9 I'll be trying to populate as I revisit the iKudB.Rite group of 53. Well, even the kitty knows this one because she's getting her paws all scratched up out there on the leather chair, which means she too is hoping for listenable content. And if you've listened to any of this last 4.5 months of recordings, well, somewhere back in there, I talk about an article I read that was, or was that last year? Who knows? Somewhere one day, I stumbled into an article called Ways to Improve. No, I think it was How to Improve Your Podcast's your audience experience through your podcasts. I don't even know. Point is, it was trying to tell you things that would make your audience appreciate your podcast more. Why I'm stumbling over this, I don't know. They were ideas like put up that corrugated soundproof shit so that you don't have ambient echoey noise. I'm like, yeah. Get the best microphone on Amazon you can afford. What was there? There were, I think, 10 or 15 of them. So there were quite a few. And it seemed like they missed the most obvious one. And the only one necessary, really. And I'm not saying I do this. The reason that I tell you not to listen is because there's so little consistently listenable resources of content out there that to plug into one day after day, or even just as a committed experience of return value, boy, I don't know. There's just so much more to be doing with your day than listening to something somebody else put together. At least in repetitive form. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm as big a fan of morning radio silliness and all the whatever type of background noise you can get into. If that's the experience you're using this for, that's as far as you should take it. But I think going forward now, I'm going to have to at least inject in every single episode at some point if you're listening to this, what else are you doing? Like, seriously, what else are you doing? You can't just be sitting on the couch. You cannot be just lollygagging on your bed. You cannot be just on the toilet looking at your phone, which is probably what both of you listening are doing. You have to be doing something if you're listening to podcasts. This isn't doing something. This is the noise you listen to because you're doing an individual activity, and a podcast helps make that individual activity less tedious. So this is mowing the yard background noise. This is changing the oil in the car background noise. This is trimming trees that you're not on a ladder and don't need hearing echolocation to determine your own safety, I guess. My point is, never ever have I downloaded 10 podcasts with the idea that, oh, sweet, now I can go sit on the couch for 4 hours. No. You download 10 podcasts because you have to ride your bike to Aurora and then to fucking Inglewood and then back to West Denver. And you know that with the way your 53-year-old body's going lately, that's probably 3 hours worth of work. So let's load up 4 hours worth of podcasts and skip the shit we don't want. That would be fine. As long as you put me on at least double time. Because if you download 4 hours of podcasts, you should be able to get through those in no more than 2 hours. And frankly, you should be able to get through those in about 80 minutes. And I say that because if you get comfortable listening to me at 2.0, then you have to jump to 2.25. Because there's no difference, really. It's slightly faster. Slightly. They're very similar. Now, 3 is very different. But just stay on 2.25 for about a week. You'll get used to that tempo exactly. 2 will start to sound slow, and then go to 2.4. Don't jump to 2.5. Don't keep doing quarter jumps. It'll feel abrupt, especially from 2.75 to 3. Or from 2.5 to 2.75. Just go up 10 but do it every 4 or 5 days. Once you've gotten used to the speed, go up a little bit more. Go up a little bit more. Pretty soon you'll listen to me at 3.25. And that's probably where it taps out before you have to start going, wait, what was that? 3.25. That's where I listen to most of my revisits. And it took me a little bit to get there, but I don't miss anything because I talk so slowly. There's nobody I'm conversing with. So there's nothing here to listen to but a direct narrative, which, again, you shouldn't be listening to. But if you are, speed it up. What else? Sorry about the swearing. Nothing I can do about it. And frankly, I'm not really sorry. I just am sorry if that is a situational custom that is offensive enough to you to somehow deny the value of whatever exchange of content exists in a once in a while swear word laden expletive packed exchange. I only swear when I feel it's, well, that's not true. I like to swear. I find swearing to be some of the most colorful words we've got. I like to speak in colorful language, so blue, purple, yellow, green. I don't think, well, I don't think much, really. Things just fall out of my mouth like blue, yellow, something green. Purple? Probably. If if Jack Herrera and Chocolope aren't doing their job, well, come on. Obviously they are. All right, it's a good thing I got this list. Oh, yeah, I've got this list. But there was one thing I wanted to talk about before going to my final list. And that is, how do I want to approach this? The world's a funny place because you can go out with a complete presentation of yourself, actions, and outcomes that you would call magnanimous, that the Denver Post calls psychotic. And in whatever disconnect you create from the way you're received versus the intent you implied in your actions internally in your own head, what you were trying to get done, trying to be helpful, trying to be courteous, trying to be quick, trying to be discreet, trying to be asleep, whatever you're trying to be. If the universe gives you a reaction that is, well, 90 degrees to the left or right of the heading that you thought you were tacking, it puts you in the position of, well, do I course correct? Do I adapt? Or do I scrap and replan? And sometimes the universe even tells you which of those directions you need to go next. And being in this exact situation on two different frontiers and almost happening in simulcast life events, well, I wonder if the only thing I'm really here to do is to watch whatever comes next. I mean, at some point, it's like you're giving me the same tasks, and I'm going to perform them the same way, and I'm going to come out with roughly the same expectations. And if the universe doesn't meet those expectations and has to double down to show me something glaring that I'm overlooking, well, it seemed like I'm being set up for that. There's just too much coast in my routine right now. And maybe this is because I don't have a job to go to where somebody tells me I'm fucking doing something wrong or something full of shit or whatever. So I don't have all that laden taint on my inner subconscious. Thus, am liberated to feel unburdened and unrestricted in my daily, well, nobody's telling me that's wrong, so I guess we'll call that right life. But there goes one of those thought derailments, huh? Time to smoke more weed. Pause. Unpause. Okay, I sort of remember. I mean, I was heading into that space where I'm just feeling like an NPC. It just stacks up that way. I feel like I'm here to trigger the plot to move forward so other characters can experience the next thing they're supposed to get to. Yeah. Isn't that how your life's going? Pause. All right, on pause. I'm going to go ahead and just do a dab while I spell out a few more of the rules. 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 A few more of the consistent expectations that you will have to endure if you're silly enough to think hitting anything but the stop button right now is your best move. I'm going to be completely indulgent in myself in both topic matter and extent of mental masturbation within that territory. I don't care if I say the same word 19 times in a row, trying to come up with a word that follows it. I am going to always record at a pace that says something meaningful that I stand by as I speak it and as I know it will live out there forever, and that is relevant to the purpose of what I'm doing here. So, again, with all that self-indulgence, well, not a whole lot of room for a listener, is there? Seriously, did I even invite you? I guess this is your universe too, but pause. Oh, wait, I was going to do a dab. Hey, I've loaded up some blue cheese. Ooh, good. Once in a while, you'll get one of these trim run combos, and this one's Blue Dream and UK cheese, where literally they have dumped whatever is left on the floor after they've cut the nugs and gotten everything into packaging. Well, they're going to tumble and butane this stuff into, I gotta say, some pretty damn stony and creative idea-inducing product that has gotten cheaper and cheaper. Yay, Denver. In fact, are concentrates, marijuana concentrates, and ounces of weed the one thing in my life that is cheaper this year than it was last year? Maybe. But they are. So at least one thing's going right. Pause. Oh my goodness. All this clickety click. Another reason you might not want to be tuning in, because I will discuss, but more importantly, probably to those who would be offended, I will also use what have in this lifetime been considered illegal drugs. So far, the count is marijuana concentrates, marijuana green grass, and mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms. What else will we get into? Well, obviously some of that sweet watermelon sandia soda from the Kroger company. Wow. We'll need some of that right now. Holy shit. Boy, there could be crack in there. I'm not saying there is. I'm sure Kroger's, well, I'm not sure about anything with Kroger. But let's face it, they ain't putting crack in their $4.29 12 packs of watermelon soda. But could the simulation be doing that? I mean, well, let's not get into that. Let's do this final list. I don't want to go into territory that will get me derailed. So, in celebration of all the fucking cold weather, because you know what this year has been? It's been cold. It's been cold the whole year. Yeah, the last week's been decent, but even the last week's been decent. It's not been warm. And maybe next week looks like it might hit 80. We've had one day in the 80s so far. It's May 12th. And the year has been freezing. Well, that's actually better for me. I would much rather be in a chill environment than in a warm environment. And if we're talking cold versus hot, then it's not even close. I'll take cold every time. But I guess that little curse has fallen on me squarely this year, because even I, about 2 weeks ago, lost it in the backyard when it started snowing. And I thought, I mean, when are we going to see a day that's ready for golf? Well, I know they're coming next week and probably for the rest of the 4 months thereafter. But they ain't here yet. They have not been here at all up till this point. And frankly, they're overdue. So, in kind and forgiving fashion, I will tell the weather, you've done a bang-up job for about 15 years around here. So this year, I forgive you. In fact, hell, let 2023 be the year you fuck it all up. Everything's just not cool because the weather sucked. That'll be fine. Because you have fucking knocked it out of the park. I mean, some of the Novembers we've had around here for the last 10 years have just been Junerific. So, I'm not complaining. But anytime you're ready to turn the camera over to tennis weather, well, those photos I'm ready to start taking. But having enjoyed cold weather for most of my life, I've definitely got some favorite moments in the cold. And that is today's list of 9. I could be right, because I am right. I know my favorite 9. Well, do I know my favorite 9? I'll bet I remember something like 2 weeks from now where I'm like, oh, you know what should have been on my list of cold? You watch. It'll come up. But I gave this one half a day to think about, so I think I got 9 legit good ones. I certainly like my list, so I'll just start with that. I like it. You are not listening, so you don't even have to care. But for the dog, I've spoken about this once before, but I have to put it on the list, even though it was torturous and never something I would relive. It is one of my better memories, and that is playing freeze out at the Great Hollow Wilderness School with, who was that in that truck? It was me, Doug, and God, what was his name? The Marlboro Man. Well, there's a name that'll come to me if I don't think about it. Maybe Chris? No, that's not right. Well, when we were closing down in October and first week of November, we had a pickup truck that had cab anchors, and so you could get a pretty good handhold on the cab standing up in the back bed with your shirt off as the two inside drove down, what was that, Route 121, at up to 55 miles an hour. And if you went 60, you were definitely going to get a ticket, especially with some shirtless dude standing in the back of the truck. So 45 is about as fast as we really got going. But in October, when it's fucking 40 degrees and you're going 45 miles an hour down 10 o'clock at night back highways, oh my God. Tim, that was his name. Because those two guys were made out of, what, stone? I don't even know. If I remember right, I might have made it to 6 minutes or 5, but one of them was out there for 20 plus at one point. And I'm just like, I mean, you have no idea how fucking cold you get in about 15 seconds. And then it's a question of how long can you endure it before you just finally have to say, I'm done. Well, when I got in and they told me it was 6 minutes or something, and the clock is there, so you obviously get to tell that they're not lying to you. You think you've been out there 15 minutes, you've been out there 6. That's what my universe was like, but I've never forgotten the nights playing freeze out with Tim and Doug. Those were stupid, but memories made in complete friendship. And one moment in time that if I were to come back and relive this life, I'd probably go jump in the freeze-out truck. That would be fun. Okay, well, venturing off of freeze-out to something I actually did enjoy. Is that? Oh, it's rain? Shit. I would say this would be 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It started in elementary school for sure. So maybe not 5th grade, but 6th grade for sure. 7th and 8th for sure. We got into a routine of playing street hockey or whatever. Call it what you want. It was on the elementary school back playground, asphalt area. It was perfectly set up for 3-on-3, 4-on-4, or maybe 5-on-5, though that got crowded. So we used to keep it to 3-on-3 or 4-on-4. Of orange puck, plastic stick hockey. And we even had the nets from the school that we could use if we were playing at a time when somebody was in the school. Or if not, we would just set up some form of like structured goal in which to score. But I'm telling you, we played that for 3 years, maybe 4, and a lot of the neighborhood played it. I think Tom and Joey and their clan started it. I'm sure Joey started it, but it got big. Like it was fun, and it was fun especially on days when it was icy, because I mean there was a sense of recklessness to it that if it was slippery was even more fun. We never played on skates. We were always just running around. But, oh man, that was one of the ones that came to me late in the afternoon when I was thinking of stuff that I did in the cold. And I'm so glad I remembered it, because it was way better than freeze out and deserved a spot on the list. So, and just so that we're clear, I don't have skiing or any of the just daily mountain routines around here on these lists, because obviously they're all fun. But these are just specific memories I have of cold days where I would go relive them no problem. And so the next one, number 7, is unusual because this is probably one of my favorite memories of my dad and me. There was a blizzard, I believe it was 82, could have been 81, where I think 24 inches of snow fell on Christmas Eve. And if not, it might have been more. It might have been 26. It was an enormous amount of snow. And my parents were putting an addition on the back of the house that had been framed out, but that was it. So the plywood and 2x4s were up. There was a roofing pitch frame in place, but that was it when that snowstorm hit. And because all that wood was basically going to get ruined if it was subjected to the warping that would come with 24 inches of snow melting on it, my dad and I, throughout the night, kept going out every half hour, whatever, and shoveling off the snow. And I remember thinking, because I must have been 10 or 11, 12, something. I mean, I was young, but old enough to shovel snow or to push snow with a broom. The point is, this is one of those first times where I thought, it's a good thing I'm here, because it's better that Dad has me to help him with this one than Mom, because that's not a fair task for Mom to have to stay up with, and Dad needs some help. Like, he shouldn't have to do this whole thing either. And Em's too young. Like, I felt like I was needed in my family in a time when there was a problem that we all had to solve. It's just one of those kid memories you have where you think, yeah, that was cool, Dad. I'm glad. Yeah, no, it was great. We stayed up till, what time was it? What was it? Oh, it was like 1 o'clock. Okay, it was 11. Whatever, you know. You just have those times when I think you feel included in something that maybe for the general purpose of the moment gives you a memory for life. All right. which I guess is a pretty good description of the next one. I will say that I have one Fabergé egg moment in my life, and it was in Keystone on their ice skating rink when the entire resort got snowed in. There was so much snow that the parking lot wasn't even, there was nowhere to go. But you could go into the Keystone area where all of the town snow removal equipment was at least keeping the ice skating rink, the whatever store that had comic books in it, and the restaurant and bar or whatever down the little path open. And we were out there in basically pristine, snowed in, blizzard conditions, ice skating in a mountain resort town that looked like something cut in a gingerbread house display. It was just, and the snowflakes coming down were spectacular. I can picture it vividly now. And I don't have a whole lot of Thomas Kincaid or whatever the winter scene little miniature model dude is. I don't have a whole lot of even affinity for that kind of shit. So to have experienced one and have it imprinted on my life, this was when I was 11 or 12 too. I was young. This was a family vacation. And yeah, man, I can picture it now. Truly like being inside of a snow globe. Which of course, there's been many of those opportunities living in Colorado, but this one stands out. Okay, that means we're to the number 5. Tubing and sledding in Empire, or really anywhere. It doesn't matter. You can do this over on Foss Hill, or if you're not in Connecticut, you could go over here on Ruby Hill and do it here in Denver, or you could, whatever. Tubing specifically, because tubing down mountain snow hills is so much fun. Not that sledding doesn't have its place, but if you've got your choice at the top of the mountain, which one are you going to pick? It's a no-brainer. So any day, tubing and sledding in a mountainous setting, not just say at Ross Park. Yeah, okay, it's a hill, but it's what, a 15-foot hill? I don't know. Does that count? Not really. But does Winter Park count? Yeah, it does. Let's get our tubing. So that generic event is definitely in the top 5. Okay, so that leaves my 4, 3, 2, and 1. And I've got to say, number 1 did happen. This is a story. I don't know if I've even told this story yet. Have I? Maybe. Probably not, though. I'm not going to use the name of the person I did this with, but the person I did this with will exactly know who she is. We'll call her Roxy. And Roxy drove a red Honda CR-V, or whatever that little 2-seater thing was called back in the day. It looked like a Pac-Man mobile. Anyway, we'll get to number 1 when we get to number 1. So, number 4. I definitely enjoy a good snowball fight. Oh, God. Even to this day. I've encouraged office snowball fights more than I should have, probably. But I've also had some of my best office days encouraging office snowball fights. So, what can I say? A good snowball fight, a good spirited one, where you're just out to give someone a not forceful ice ball to the face. A good-natured snowball fight, I think, is about as fun as anything a group of random people can do. But if you're just with your buddy, or your buddy and your other buddy, or maybe even your buddy, your other buddy, and your other buddy, but that's about as far as it can go, because there's only so much room on a bumper. Well, my number 3 favorite activity in the cold is bumper hitching. And in fact, now that we don't scrape the streets of Denver, I've never even thought about how much bumper hitching material there is out there. Next winter. Bumper hitching, in case you don't know, is just grabbing a hold of the bumper and riding the snowy road wherever you go, wherever the driver takes you. It is something we used to do outside the elementary school, much to the chagrin of Mr. Hurd and anybody else watching. But that was back in the 70s when if your parents picked you up from a snow day, then you got to ride home on the bumper. That was fucking the way it worked. It wasn't like today where you had to get into a car seat and put a helmet on. Nope. No, you just grabbed a little back car metal and when we get to your house, man, release. Good seeing you, bro. I'm not even exaggerating. I mean, it wouldn't be that unusual for 4 or 5 of us to be on the back of, Matey's car. It's possible. The Buick, I'm sure it could hold that. All right, so bumper hitching. Now, my number 2 is one of those personal moments that I just, for whatever reason, had a day that it all clicked. And this was day 2 of a 2-day golf tournament on Cape Cod. And and day 1 was so fucking windy that I shot 101. I mean, in an official tournament, I shot 101. And I wasn't the only one that shot in the hundreds. There were quite a few of us. I've never played a more brutal day of golf than that day on the coast of Massachusetts. In the wind that at one point I saw a ball hit up and back that the wind blew behind where it started. So 101. Well, the tournament was to play there were 2 courses in the layout, and the out course, the one we had played day 1, was the windiest of the courses. The in course was still as could be, at least on day 2, when I shot 71. And I only broke par in official tournaments twice. This was one of the days. And a 30-stroke difference between day 1 and day 2 was the greatest difference in the tournament history between day 1 and day 2. And I'm pretty sure probably it could even still be. I mean, it's an enormous, it's an enormous gap. Oh, and actually, I should say, this was a tournament where you brought 6 and top 4 scores count. And because my team had 2 scores worse than 101, my 101 had to score. I even had to be posted on the fucking results, which, as the freshman 5th golfer on the team, I certainly didn't want 101. This was my second official event, the first one being the tournament we hosted to open our season. Oh my fucking God. But then I shot 71 the next day, which wasn't the best on the team. Somebody actually shot 70 that day. Somebody who had no fucking 70 ever again. But he shot 70 that day. So again, it was when you have such an adverse situation that you literally don't know if the ball you're about to hit might blow back and hit you, and then you step into serenity, tranquility, and golf as you know it, boy, you can embrace that moment to the point that all of the angst and stress from the day before becomes the momentum and precision of the day after. I can probably play through about 7 or 8 of those holes still today. I certainly can play the first 3 because I remember that the first 2 tee shots were memorable, and the 3rd hole was a water hole, so it's a very memorable hole as well. My point is, that's how much that round still lives in my head. I was 18. I'm 53. I would say that round, a round I had in high school, another round I had in college, and a round I had the year after college, and one round with my roommate in the 2000s. Those 5 stand out as the highlight rounds of my life. This is one of them. And it was on a chilly fucking day in Massachusetts. I'll say that. Welcome to golf in fucking New England. It wasn't as bad as day one, but it was cold enough that I should have had more than the jacket I brought with me. Lesson learned. Which, unintentionally, is the perfect segue to my number 1 favorite moment in the cold. And Roxy, I don't mean to compromise your integrity nor your good name, but this would have been, let's see, it had to be my junior year, so this would have been 1990. Yep, 90, because it was the first week, game 3 of the season, if I remember right, maybe game 4. Whatever it was the end of the series of the Mets against, I have no idea now. I cannot remember who they played. But they played into the 18th inning. And my girlfriend had gotten tickets from her dad, who was a pretty well-connected New York dude. We had the seats right behind the third tier or third balcony rail. Like, we could put our drinks on the rail, we could put our we were looking down on third base from about between left fielder and third baseman on the front row of the third deck. And this has some purpose, that's why I'm telling you. And when we got to the game, I would say the stadium was about half full. And maybe a third full. It was sparse. But the problem, and we had actually met, I think I've already said her name once. Whatever, I'm going to try not to say her name. But Roxy, we had met her father for dinner on the way down. And so we left Connecticut at 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon, which meant we were very ill prepared for a basically winter ball game that started and finished after midnight. And Roxy was in a spring dress, one-piece dress thing with leggings, which back then did not mean yoga pants. It meant 2 tubes on her legs. And no socks and clogs. I remember the shoes well. But she had a sweater and a jacket. And she had earmuffs, which, let's just say I did not have those. Anyway, I wore a baseball hat, a jacket, a jean jacket, jeans, no socks, so barefoot in what were like boat shoes, whatever. And I had a scarf. Yes, I did, because it was given to me by Beth's father. It was a very, very, very nice scarf, in fact. But the point is, we were cold walking from the car to the stadium. And that's okay, right? I mean, it's a baseball game. We'll just leave if we get that cold. Well, the game was compelling, number one. We were both actually pretty big fans of the Mets. So it was kind of cool that we were seeing this game. And we became, as time wore on, the only people in our section. Everybody left this game. It got cold, really cold, at like 10:30 or 11 at night. I mean, to the point we were freezing. We were huddled against each other for at least the last 10 innings, to the point that we got comfortable enough and coordinated enough to have sex in Met Stadium, right in the seats, right behind the concrete barrier. There was no question that we could have been seen from behind. Anybody could have walked up and looked at us from behind and seen exactly what was happening. But there was nobody behind us, and nobody had come up through that gangway behind us for like 4 innings. So by the time it actually was all going on, it just was happening. It just was happening. It was one of those things that as your, 20-year-old, hot-blooded American boy thinking, holy shit, oh my God, hell yeah, Beth. Ah, damn it. Well, I said her name. Guess I got to stop this thing now, right? Sorry, Beth.